Nazem Kadri, the talented forward for the Calgary Flames, remains one of the most talked about names among Toronto Maple Leafs fans. And why wouldn't he be? Kadri, who proudly wore the Leafs jersey for years, was forced to leave the team under controversial circumstances, leaving a deep wound in the hearts of the fanbase. Promised as a long-term piece of the franchise, his departure left many wondering what could have been. Since then, Kadri has shined everywhere he's played. First, as a standout for the Colorado Avalanche, where he achieved the ultimate dream of winning the Stanley Cup. Now, as a critical force in the Flames' offense, his impact on the NHL is undeniable. However, rumors of a potential return to the Leafs continue to surface, fueling hope and debate among Toronto fans. Recently, these rumors gained momentum, but according to David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period, this idea is nothing more than a pipe dream for now. And Nazem Kadri to the Leafs? Not so fast, said Pagnotta, pouring cold water on fans' expectations. The Flames' current performance in the competitive Pacific Division gives no indication that the team would be willing to part with one of their key players. Kadri, now a cornerstone in Calgary, continues to demonstrate why he's one of the league's best forwards. Another obstacle to any trade involving Kadri is his contract. With a cap hit of $7 million per season, the bigger issue isn't the cost itself but the lengthy term remaining on the deal. Pagnotta pointed out, "The cap hit doesn't scare me, it's the term left on the contract." This makes it unlikely that teams, including the Leafs, would put forth a convincing offer to bring him back. But it's impossible for Toronto fans not to dream of Kadri's return. After all, his passion, physicality, and offensive skill were emblematic of what the Leafs needed to build a winning team. In an alternate universe, Kadri would still be wearing blue and white, forming a devastating line with Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner. It's not just Kadri's on-ice contributions that are missed. His emotional connection to the city and its fans was palpable. He was the type of player who left his heart on the ice, someone who understood what it meant to represent one of the most historic franchises in the NHL. His departure wasn't just a business decision, it was an emotional blow for everyone who believed he would be a lifelong Maple Leaf. Of course, the Leafs have evolved since Kadri's departure. Matthews has become one of the world's best players, Marner is a maestro on the ice, and John Tavares has brought leadership and consistency. Still, many wonder, would the Leafs' infamous lack of toughness narrative in the playoffs have been different with Kadri? Meanwhile, Kadri continues to write his story in Calgary, but it's impossible not to imagine that he, too, wonders what could have been in Toronto. In past interviews, he has never hidden his love for the city and the team. Who knows, perhaps someday in the future, the stars will align to bring Kadri back to where he always belonged. For now, Leafs fans must accept the reality, Kadri is in Calgary, and the Flames are not ready to part with him. But as any good hockey fan knows, in the world of the NHL, never say never. So, as we wait for the next chapter in this story, all we can do is dream of what might have been, and who knows, what still could be. For many Toronto Maple Leafs fans, the notion of Kadri's return isn't just a fantasy, it's a symbol of unfinished business. Kadri represented a level of grit and determination that often seemed absent in critical moments. His presence on the ice brought not only skill but also a fiery competitiveness that elevated those around him. It's this intangible quality that makes his name still resonate in discussions about what the Leafs need to take the next step toward playoff success. Kadri's departure came during a time when the Leafs were reshaping their roster to focus on skill and speed. While that strategy has yielded results during the regular season, critics have pointed out that the lack of physicality and playoff grit has often been their undoing. Kadri's unique ability to balance offensive talent with a hard-nosed approach was precisely what the Leafs needed, and losing him left a void that has never truly been filled. The irony, of course, is that Kadri found that elusive playoff success shortly after leaving Toronto. Watching him hoist the Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche was bittersweet for Leafs fans. It was a moment of pride for a player they still held in high regard but also a painful reminder of what could have been had circumstances played out differently in Toronto. Yet, dreaming of Kadri's return is about more than just hockey. It's about redemption. It's about a city and a player reuniting to finish what they started. Kadri's deep connection to the Toronto fanbase is undeniable. Despite the circumstances of his departure, he's always spoken fondly of his time with the Leafs, and the fans have reciprocated that admiration. A return would feel like correcting a mistake and giving both sides a chance to rewrite their shared story. Realistically, however, there are significant obstacles to such a reunion. The NHL salary cap era makes moves like these incredibly challenging, particularly for a team like the Leafs, which already has several high-priced contracts on the books. Adding Kadri's $7 million cap hit, along with the term left on his deal, would require major roster gymnastics that might compromise other areas of the team. But for Leafs fans, the heart often overrules the head. The idea of Kadri returning isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about chemistry, passion, and the belief that he could be the missing piece. In a league where unpredictability reigns, dreaming big isn't just encouraged, it's part of the game's charm. The Flames, for their part, would be reluctant to part with Kadri. His presence in Calgary has been instrumental in their success, and his leadership is invaluable on and off the ice. Trading a player of his caliber, especially while they remain competitive, would send shockwaves through their locker room and signal a shift in their organizational priorities. For now, Kadri remains a cornerstone of their roster. Even if a trade isn't in the cards, Leafs fans won't stop speculating. Every highlight reel goal, every clutch playoff moment, every glimpse of the player Kadri has become reignites the conversation. It's a testament to the impact he left in Toronto and the emotional connection that hockey fans form with players who wear their team's colors with pride. In the end, the Kadri saga serves as a reminder of the unpredictability and drama that makes the NHL so captivating. Whether or not Kadri ever returns to Toronto, his legacy with the Maple Leafs remains secure. He was a player who gave everything to the team and the city, and for that, he'll always be remembered fondly. For now, the dream of Kadri in a Leafs jersey again lives on in the hearts of Toronto fans. It's a dream rooted in hope, nostalgia, and the unshakable belief that, in hockey, anything is possible. And while reality may say otherwise, the imagination of a Leafs fan is a powerful thing. After all, in a sport defined by moments, perhaps one day, Kadri's story in Toronto will have the perfect ending. Of course, dreams don't win championships, and the Leafs know that their current roster is built to contend now. Kadri's hypothetical return might make for a great story, but Toronto's focus remains on finding immediate success with the pieces they already have. Players like Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander have matured into stars, and the team's depth has improved under the careful management of their front office. The Leafs are not the same team Kadri left, they've grown, evolved, and learned from their failures. Still, there's something about Kadri that feels irreplaceable. He was a player who wore his emotions on his sleeve, someone who embodied the spirit of a city that prides itself on resilience and hard work. Even now, fans can't help but wonder if Kadri's grit and determination could be the spark the Leafs need in those high-pressure playoff situations where they've struggled most. It's a thought that lingers, not just because of who Kadri is, but because of what he represents, a fearless competitor unafraid of the moment. Whether Kadri ever finds his way back to Toronto or continues to thrive elsewhere, his legacy as a Maple Leaf is secure. He was more than just a player, he was a symbol of hope and passion for a fanbase longing for success. And while the story may never have the fairy tale ending fans envision, the memories Kadri left behind serve as a reminder of what it means to love the game and the city that supported him through it all. For the Toronto Maple Leafs faithful, Kadri's story is one of bittersweet nostalgia, a tale of what could have been and what still might be. His departure left an indelible mark on a franchise that has struggled to find the right balance between skill and grit, two qualities that Kadri embodied so naturally. Fans remember his contributions not just in goals and assists but in his fiery presence, his ability to stand up for teammates, and his unwavering loyalty to the crest on his chest.